And there were people that said the S&P wasn't even going to make $60 again for a decade. That's why in the GFC, everyone said expect a decade of low returns. And I saw countless models. People said, well, inflation's going to be weak and GDP, and so it'll take forever to get to $60 in earnings again. Well, the S&P 3 years later had $90 in earnings. And, and now earnings are expected to be $280. Okay. So we've gone from $60 to $280 in 14 years. Why do people suddenly think earnings are going to peak at 280? I mean, S&P earnings, is going to be over $1,000 per share in the near future. And I know it sounds incredible, but one of the things driving this, and we've written about it for our clients since 2018, is that the world is running out of prime age workers. So we have population growth, but it's growing faster than the number of people that actually can work. That difference in population means instead of paying wages, you have to pay a company to produce a machine for output. Okay, so that money is recycled into the S&P. By the end of this decade, it's almost $4 trillion a year in wages that are no longer paid to people, but to another company. If it's AI related, that could mean NVIDIA's revenue could be $1 trillion by the end of the decade. And NVIDIA's revenues are 100 billion right now. So NVIDIA itself could be at 10x. I mean, I think people are unimaginative when they don't realize they're not looking back far enough. In 2008, people didn't think S&P earnings would get back to $60 for a decade. So that's 2018.
All right. Tom Lee says NVIDIA might 10x from this area. So the question is in the long run, and the question is now in the short run, do we expect NVIDIA to fall before a potential 10x? Or are we going to get in here already? Yesterday there was an accelerated sell-off with a gap, and of course it looks like panic. It's panic selling. Kramer calls this crescendo, and Sami Abusad, who I like from T3 Live, who I like to watch on Sundays, talks about an accelerated sell-off. So of course, after a gap, can zoom in, after the gap here, and we went down, and then there was a chance for very short-term buyers to get in and to scalp this really decent move. Today, you can see it's 103 in the pre-market, so up again. Who knows whether it holds or not, but in my opinion, nothing strange would happen if the price goes up in this area. 120, 130 would still be in a descending trend line, lower lows, and we have to be careful until this area is taken out. Okay, that's NVIDIA.